Thank you very much, Melissa. It's a real pleasure to be with you here. Thank you very much for everyone who joined today. As Melissa was mentioning, this is the first one for the season. This is my first one for the Agile Montréal community. So I'm very excited. Um, I'm gonna start giving you guys a little bit of introduction about who am I, who is Wagner, okay? So if you have any questions, I'm not sure if Melissa, you prefer to keep Q&A session at the end, but I don't mind if people have questions, and I'll try to answer them along the way. Okay, so if you guys have any questions during the presentation, feel free to interrupt me. I'll be happy to answer. But if you prefer, we can save the sessions for the end of the webinar. All right, so today we're going to be talking about metrics, maturity, and OKRs, and things doesn't seem to be very much connected, I believe, but in the end, you guys were going to see that they are very important actually to be connected. And talking a little bit about myself, real quick, just so you guys know who Wagner is. So I've been for quite some time around. Um, I'm still getting in touch with the Montreal community. We are new in Canada, but we are pretty much consolidated in Brazil. So I've got a little bit more than 20 years of experience. 15 of those dedicated to project management, traditional project management, process improvement, product development, agile project management from different industries. We have worked with banking, with the banking industry. We have worked with uh, international logistics companies. We have worked with fashion companies. So we've been all around, and we started to focus on business agility because we understand that it's not enough only to focus on one specific team within a huge organizational system. So that is why we decided to found our company and start to offer services related to business agility, not only in Brazil, but now we also have a new company founded very recently in Montreal, which is the digital products division. So we are divided into two divisions right now. The consulting services remain in Brazil, and we also have a hub, a digital hub in Montreal right now. So we are really excited. Please feel free to add me to your network. I'll be very happy to connect with you guys. I really want to be able to understand the current scenario for the maturity of the agility methodologies, agile methodologies within the Quebec region, and how we can help you guys achieve any of your goals or solve any of your problems and challenges. Okay. All right, so that was a quick one because we have a lot to talk about. So I would first, I think it's very important to align some expectations before we jump into the content. I'm sorry for making this first presentation in English. I promise to be hosting the next one en français. Je dois pratiquer mon français. But for this first one, I'll have to, I prefer to do it in English to be able to be more clear when communicating for the first session with you guys, okay? So expectations. This is very important so you guys know what's going to be covered and what is not in the scope of this webinar. As you might imagine, there is a lot of things to cover because I tried to join three different worlds, if I can say so, because it's three huge umbrellas. If we think about metrics, maturity, models, and objectives, strategic objectives, and OKRs. But Why I chose this subject, it's very simple. These are the most, from my experience, from where we have been working with different companies, we understand that those are the main three topics that everyone uh, is facing challenges with. People understand after several years now the importance of measuring the right things, but we are still seeing a lot of companies who face a lot of difficulties in trying to understand the metrics and how the metrics can actually help them, and why do we need to look at certain metrics, and what is the benefits of looking at them. So I'll try to cover them all in a simple and basic way, but very efficient way, I hope. um, as I mentioned, if you guys have any questions during the presentation, feel free to stop me. But the structure of the presentation is going to follow the following agenda. So we're going to start talking about flow metrics, and the key word here is essential. There are a lot of types of metrics. There are a lot of types of business KPIs. We're going to be focusing on only the essential ones, which I believe if you don't measure anything yet, the ones that we're going to be presenting to you are definitely the ones that you should start with if you are not measuring anything. If you already measure, this is going to be a very good opportunity for you guys to review what you know and to maybe get answers to doubts you may have related to those metrics. But the focus will be on flow metrics, and I'm going to explain exactly what flow metrics are just in a second. And this is the structure. So what are flow metrics? We're going to be talking about why they are important in the form of questions, very simple questions. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible to avoid complexity. And of course, I really want to be able to not only share knowledge, but share tools with you guys so that you can implement uh, whatever we are showing you guys here in your day-to-day, in your routine. So I'm also going to be providing you with the tools in the house you can use everything that is going to be presenting in your company. Okay, I don't want to just be talking about the metrics and everything else. I also want to provide you with the necessary tools for you to be able to have a more pragmatic and practical approach. Okay, let me know if I succeed, please. So the next, after we talk a little about flow metrics, I want to touch into the objectives and key results framework. Really quickly talk about OKRs because again, it's a huge umbrella. We're going to be following the same structure, so we're going to be explaining real quickly what are OKRs, why are they important, how can you implement. It's the most important. In very if I remember correctly, it's 4 simple steps that you can take to use OKRs in your day-to-day. And in the end of every section, I'm going to be presenting you with some references and some tools from the market that you can use, and some bonuses that I prepared for you guys, especially for you guys who are participating with us. So thank you again for joining. You won't regret it. Regarding maturity assessments, the same structure. We're going to be looking at what are them, why they are important, how we can use them and implement them today if you want, and the bonuses and references. It is important to also mention what's not going to be covered during this webinar. As you know, it's a lot of topics and a lot of content to cover everything. So this is not going to be an in-depth, comprehensive course about metrics and KPIs. And it's not going to be an in-depth and comprehensive course about OKRs. And it's not going to be a comprehensive course related to teams maturity models. Because again, we can have a huge training path only for each one of those. Okay, so it's a lot to cover, and I'm gonna focus on the most important, most essential, and the keeping things as simple as possible. Okay, and lastly, maybe you guys will have questions regarding GOK, so I understand how to use those. But my main problem is prioritizing the right work, and this is not going to be covered in this webinar. If you guys really want to discuss further after the session one of those topics or all of them, please let me know. I'll be happy to schedule something with Melissa for probably potential next sessions. I'll be happy to prepare content related to those topics for you guys, but we're not going to be going into detail of those things. Okay. I see something in the chat. Will we receive the slides? I believe so. The session is going to be recorded, so I know that you guys will be receiving the recording. It will be uploaded to Agile Montréal YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll check with Melissa how I can share the slides with you guys later on. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the good stuff. So flow metrics, what you need to understand regarding the essential flow and performance metrics. Okay. I don't like to show a lot of text, but I really need to just align the concept with you guys with 3 really quick paragraphs. So flow metrics are a set of measurements that capture how work progresses through a system, process, or team. It may seem simple in a sentence, but it's pretty hard in the practice to do it, actually, right? To measure the right stuff and how to measure it. So the benefits of measuring and using flow metrics are basically we get insights into aspects like how quickly tasks are completed, how much work is in progress, the famous work in progress at a specific given time, and how frequently new tasks are started and delivered, of course. And this is the last one. By monitoring flow metrics, every team might be able to identify bottlenecks if done correctly, understand the team's capacity, which is one of the most biggest problems that we see. The teams don't actually understand how much they can deliver, if they can deliver everything that has been assigned to them. So identifying bottlenecks, understanding capacity, and improving overall performance are the key benefits of using flow metrics. And of course, keeping an eye on those helps the teams streamline every single process that they have, and of course, deliver more value more consistently and respond to changes more effectively, which is what every one of us want, right? All right, so starting from the first, I believe this is the most simple metric. If you guys don't measure anything, this is the first one that you should be looking for. It's the easiest normally to get the data from your current systems, or if you're using a physical board, a Kanban board, you can extract easily the throughput data. And just for you to understand, so what is throughput? Is basically the calculation of the quantity of items delivered by a specific team within a designated period of time. So it's the amount of things delivered by week or the amount of things delivered by month. It depends on what is the range of time you want to look at. So basically, it's the amount of stuff that your team is delivering. What does it tell us? It helps us, actually, it informs us about the current delivery throughput of a team, and it helps us better understand our capacity. And of course, once we understand the capacity, we are able to balance the commitment of the team regarding the demands that they need to work on. Okay. Now the why behind why is it important for us to look at throughput. And the question that this metric helps us answer is, what is the actual delivery capacity of our team today? This is one of the biggest questions that we got asked every time we start to work with a new client. So, of course, that is all based on granularity, and the type of demands within a specific time period. So below here, you can see an example of a chart, and mainly this is the most common one. It's a column chart. It's a column chart visualization, which is easy to understand. So, for example, here we can see throughput per week, and we can see the colors, which tells us different issue types for the work that the team is delivering. And just by looking at it, you can see the weeks that the team has delivered more or less stuff, what kind of demands the team has been delivered more. And this is the first step for us to being predictable. If you want to be able to measure and to be accurate when estimating delivery dates, throughput is the metric for you guys to look at. If you understand how much your team's delivering by week, for example, you will be able to run some more complex simulations like the Monte Carlo simulation to predict or forecast delivery dates in a very, very accurate way. And we've used that in the past. We've got tools that we use, and it's all based on throughput. And that is why I'm presenting this one as the most essential one, as one of the most essential ones, because it's the foundation for other more complex analysis, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to send in the chat, but I'm gonna be moving on, okay? There's a lot to cover today. So the next one I'm gonna be talking about is the cycle time. And for people who are not familiar with cycle time, it's basically the calculation of the time an item takes to pass through a set of stages or a specific stage within a workflow. And there is a lot of fancy words here, but basically what it tells us is it lets us know how long an item stays within a stage of a workflow. For example, if you are taking 3 days to develop a specific part of a software, I don't know. Yeah, if everyone here's work with software development, but let's use software development as an example. Or if you want to understand how long your team takes to pass through all the stages from developing to testing and validating, those 3 steps can be analyzed as the cycle time. So it's the amount of time, and of course, we are able to identify bottlenecks when we are analyzing parts of a workflow. And it's different from lead time, which I'll be explaining a little bit more further. But the why is important for us to measure this. The question that it helps us answer is, when should we begin working on a new item in order to meet a specific delivery deadline? Of course, it's very important to understand queue management. And if you guys don't know what that is exactly, it's pretty simple. Every time we are delivering something, we have, the actual value added step of a workflow. Developing is one of those. So if there is someone actually coding and developing code during a development status, this is a value added step. And once that is completed, that work usually goes into a queue, where a QA, a tester, will be waiting for completing his or her work before pulling that new development item to the next step. So developing the queue or the buffer for the QA specialist, and then the testing itself. So queue management is very important for you guys to understand. And as an example of visualization, we can, this is one of the ways, okay? There are several ways we can look at and analyze cycle time, but since I'm mentioning bottlenecks here as one of the advantages and the benefits of looking at cycle time, it's important to use this kind of visualization because by looking at the colors, you can see which status of your workflow is actually taking longer to complete. So I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it says pending approval. So for example, for several months, pending approval has been one of the steps from the workflow that is taking more time from the team. So this is a very nice and easy way to identify bottlenecks within your workflow, okay? If you have it correctly mapped. All right, if you guys don't have any questions, I will jump to lead time. And lead time is a little bit different. It is also the calculation of time, but it's between the arrival of a new request or demand in the backlog and its delivery until its delivery or resolution. And by that, I mean, if you order a pizza, the moment you call the pizza store to order your pizza, that is when the timer starts to count. So it's the moment of the arrival of the demand. So you call the pizza store, and the guy has your request. The time begins to count. And what it tells us, it informs us about the actual time the customer or user waits until receiving the delivery or the product, or until the resolution of their issue is completed. For operational teams, for example, for help desk teams, the lead time is when someone opens or raises a new ticket until that ticket is closed or resolved. Okay, so it depends on your context. I mentioned the pizza guy. So if you call for the pizza, it's the moment you call and make your request until you receive it at your door. So that is the lead time, the amount of time it took from your request until you receive the product or service. Okay. The why it is important for us to measure and what answer does it bring to us is how much time the customer or the end user need to wait until they receive the new delivery or resolve a specific issue. This is definitely one of the most underestimated, probably is the right word, because people usually look at my team's efficiency. So my software engineering team is very efficient. But if the actual end user or your end client haven't received anything in their hands yet, you haven't delivered anything. You can be the most efficient team in the company, but if you are just a small part of the delivery pipeline, right? If you are just a small part of the customer journey, or if you need other teams in order to actually deliver that product or service to your end user, it doesn't matter. For the user, the most important metric is the lead time. This is the metric that people usually underestimate, and they focus on throughput and cycle time. But for the client, for the actual customer, this is what the guy is going to be waiting for. Okay, so when I call for the pizza, I don't care if the pizza maker, I don't know I don't know the word for that, but the pizza maker, sorry about the English, if he's preparing the pizza in 30 seconds, I had to wait for the pizza to arrive at my door, I don't know, for 2 hours. So the 2 hours is going to be the impact for me, the end customer, right? The client who's waiting for the pizza. And that is why it's very important to understand both how long the actual process for making a new pizza is doing, right? Because you need to understand where the bottleneck is. And for example, if it took 2 hours for me to receive the pizza, but the pizza guy made it in 30 seconds, the problem is not with the making of the pizza. It may be related to the delivery guy. So the person who is responsible for actually taking the pizza from the pizza store and driving all the way to my home. So that may be the part of the process that you need to adjust, right? And that is why these metrics are complementary. They are not exclude. They don't exclude one another, right? They need to be looked at from different perspectives, but all together. Okay. So throughput, the amount of things, cycle times, how long it take for a specific part of the process, and lead time is the total amount of time the client actually has to wait. I know it's a lot of information, guys, but I'll try to make it simple. I've created some visual aid for us here. So it's a visual summary. Remember that lead time is from creation to delivery, or for the order to delivery. The cycle time is by steps. So you have a huge workflow or a huge process, and you want to analyze parts of that process or a specific step of that process. So you use cycle time for that. And of course, the throughput is the amount of items delivered within a specific period. If we take a look at, and this is quite common. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with software development, but this is a complete end-to-end workflow for a software development company. It's not a comprehensive one. It may be lacking some steps, of course, but we have the upstream and the downstream. So on the left, we have the purple steps are related to refining the work, and the yellow ones into the done step are the delivery steps, right? And the lead time, remember that with the analogy of the pizza again, the backlog is the new pizza order that needs to be made, right? So it needs to be refined or prepared, and then it needs to be delivered to the client. And that whole process from the start of the request until it is delivered is the lead time. The cycle time may be, if you want to analyze, I just want to look at how long the guy is actually taking to make the pizza within the store, right? So within my restaurant, how long does it take to make the pizza? So I can look at that specific part of the process, or I want to look at how long, not look at the pizza guy, but look at the delivery man or the delivery person who is taking too long to deliver the pizza at the client's door. So that is one other possibility. Or if I just want to look at, for example, the amount of time that a client waits to be able to make an order, just thinking out loud here. But if the client has to wait in a line for 15 minutes to make just to make the order, this can be only one step of the entire process that I want to analyze. Okay, so that's why cycle time is very important. And of course, the last one is the throughput, the amount of things that I can deliver during a day, a week, or a month. And touch time is a complicated metric, and I don't want to get into details about that one because it comes from manufacturing, and I know that we have to adapt and adjust, and we have played with touch time in different industries, and depending on the company and the actual context of the work, it may change a lot. So for example, for software development, we had several different interpretations for touch time. Some people think that it's the cycle time minus the impediment or the blocker time, so the amount of time that the team has been blocked. So it's not very clear. So I don't want to touch into that. Please let me know if you guys want to have a more in-depth training or webinar related to metrics and trying to get a little bit more into the advanced or more complex analysis, I'll be happy to bring to you guys. But we are not going to be talking a lot about touch time, okay, today. All right, so after all that, again, it's a lot of content. Please, I don't see any questions. I really hope I'm being completely clear. That is why I don't see a lot of questions. So I'm happy so far. I hope you guys are still awake and you haven't fallen asleep. So this is the part that I promised that I'm going to be bringing you guys references. So how can I do that? How can I start measuring things in my company from my tools, extracting metrics? So these are two of the several tools from the market that you guys can take a look at and see if it makes a fit for you. I like to bring examples because sometimes you just want to you want to avoid trouble and avoid creating your own solutions. You want to maybe get something that is ready and there are a lot of solutions already available in the market. So these are the two ones that I know of that I have used in the past. And of course, they charge for their services, of course. It may not be that cheap, but it's options for you guys to analyze, okay? Feel free to look at their websites later on. But I'm trying to be kind enough to avoid, if you guys don't want to spend any money, if you want just to start playing with metrics for now, and you want to be able to understand a little bit more before purchasing a product, or if you're just starting with metrics and you want to see in a practical way how you can extract information and what type of formulas you need to use, I am giving you that for free. It's a very, very simple spreadsheet, okay? Don't judge me. It's a very simple, I did it very quickly just for you guys to have a sense, a feeling of what it is to measure things. So if you have your smartphones handy, you can take a look at the keyword code here, or afterwards, after you watch this video again in the recording. But you can access this spreadsheet. I'm gonna spend just five minutes to explain how you can use it. It's very, very simple, very simple. But of course, it's a start, and you can adjust and do whatever you need to do to make it more complex. And if you want to start using it today, feel free. It's free. It's for you guys. Let me know if you were able to access this spreadsheet. Make a copy of it. I'm not sure if I blocked modifications, but if not, please make sure that you are making a copy before using it to avoid messing up the spreadsheet for others to use. So starting from a product Kanban, which the Kanban method calls it, proto Kanban is basically the simple steps that you can take. So you have a backlog, you have a list of things. So give your things an ID or specific ID. You need to understand when that order has arrived. So you just include the date here for when you received that that new request. Then you just go filling out. So if you received this one, for example, taking ID 1 here as an example, I received that in August 29th, and I just started I prioritized it. It remained on the backlog, and I just prioritized it on the 4th of September. But I just started working on it 4 days later, in the 8th, sorry. And 1 day after that, in the 9th, I moved it to validation or approval. Maybe you have an approval process. And then after it was approved, 1 day after, it was moved to completed. Just giving the correct dates and updating this correctly, and every day this needs to be updated every single day. As soon as a new um, movement from a step to another is made, you really need to update the spreadsheet. This is gonna be automatically calculated for you guys, but of course you can see the simple formulas that I've included here. So based on the dates, I'm just making simple calculations to understand how long it took from each step of the process to be completed. And with that, we're gonna have all the metrics that I just mentioned. So by doing that, you will be able to see the total lead time, which is done minus the backlog. You have the cycle time, and by cycle time, I decided, and you guys may include new steps here, and you may decide that you want to analyze more steps, okay? But I'm just analyzing the doing and the validating. I'm not analyzing to do, okay? Just an example. And of course, if I have delivered it, it's a 1. If I haven't delivered it, it's a 0 or nothing. With that, by creating a very simple pivot table here, we are able to make some first inferences and analysis. And you can see that although this is just a simulated example, you can already see the benefits of doing something as simple as that. Mapping your current workflow, whether you work with software development or whether you work at a pizza store, a pizza restaurant, you can, everything has a process, right? The first step you need to understand is, what is my process, and map that workflow. Once your workflow is mapped, you can simply start updating it accordingly, and you will have the data to analyze. So as a rule of thumb, the golden rule here is for cycle time. And again, this is one of the ways of looking cycle times, right? It's not the best way depending on the analysis you want to make. For example, if you want to analyze specific individual deliveries, average might not be the best metric to look at, the best unit of measurement. You may want to look separately, right? I'm just giving you one example that you can use that. So I'm looking at a monthly report here. So I can see that there is a very beautiful trend line descending. And this is good for cycle time, because remember that cycle time is the amount of time that I take to deliver something during a specific step. So if you are reducing the cycle time, that is a good thing. The cycle time needs to be reduced. That means that you are improving your efficiency, right? For throughput, on the other hand, you need to increase the number of things delivered. And of course, it may be it is connected, of course, but it's not totally correct, because there is the variation. But if you are reducing, just as a rule of thumb, if you are reducing your cycle time and you are increasing your throughput, that means your team is improving your efficiency. Your process efficiency is improving. And the lead time, I like to look at the lead time by using the scatter plot visualization, because it gives us exactly this thing that we need to look at, the variability. So if there is a lot of variations, for example, we have one item here that took 6 days, but another one that took double the time. So those are the outliers that we need to look at. And it's a very easy way to visualize the outliers and understand what happened with these guys. So you have the date when that happened, and of course we can improve this spreadsheet to bring the issue ID if you want to, so you can look at that specific delivery and understand what happened during that day, so you can avoid, because the more variability, the more variation you have, so the more spread the circles are, in the scatter plot, the less accurate you're going to be when you're estimating delivery dates. Okay, this is very important. If you guys have any questions, feel free to interrupt me, but I'm gonna be moving on. Okay, so this is all for flow metrics, and now I'm gonna be talking about objectives and key results. And this is again a very huge subject, and I will try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, you will see that there are many other ways of doing the same thing that I'm going to be showing you guys here. But again, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Okay, so if we jump right into what OKRs are, for the ones that are not familiar with the term, it's objectives and key results. So it's an acronym. And it's a very popular framework for defining and tracking objectives and, of course, their goals, whether we are meeting them or achieving them or not. Okay, I'll give you an example of how you can do that in a second. But basically what it tells us, it helps us focus our efforts, foster our team alignment, and measure progress towards the organizational strategic goals. So you can see that now we are not talking about how much or how long the team takes to deliver. What we are talking here is strategic alignment. OKRs focus on the things that are important to the business and, of course, to the strategic level. And hopefully those strategies are aligned with the customer needs, right? So it's a different perspective. And why is it important? Basically, it's one of the most important questions that we need to ask, right? What are the most crucial objectives for the company right now, and how far are we from achieving these goals? So again, it's not about how much your team can deliver or if it has the capacity or not. We are looking at, are we meeting the company's objectives? So OKRs is very focused on strategic alignment and business expectations. Are we meeting business expectations? And by looking at the steps that I'm going to be showing you guys here of how you can implement it. And again, this is a very, very shortcut. This is definitely a shortcut, and I'm using shortcut in the formula that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in the next steps. But if you want to make it quickly, if you want to, okay, so I've heard a lot about OKRs already, but some people make it very complex to me, and I really wanted to have something simple to start using OKRs today. This is your lucky day. The first thing you need to have, if you don't already, is to create inspirational, qualitative, strategic goal or strategic objective, sorry. And that should have been given to you if you are a leader, if you are a project manager or a product manager. This should have been given to you by your executives, by the C-level, by the people who are bringing the direction, the strategic direction for your company, right? If you guys don't have it, this is the first thing that you have to do. There is no OKRs if you don't have a inspirational, qualitative, well-defined strategic objective. This is very important. If you don't have it, this is the first thing you need to do. So this is an example from a real company. Not going to be mentioning the name, but this is one of the things that they created for their staff. So they created what they called an internal growth program. And the inspirational part is that they wanted to have a more efficient and qualified team capable of exceeding market expectations, offering superior quality services. You can see how that is inspiring. So they want to have a better, more efficient team. they want to have more qualified people, and they want to have higher quality services. So this is inspiring. You don't see a deadline here, right? You don't see dates here. This is important. The overall, the big strategic objective aims at the mission and vision, right? It aims to direct people to what the company actually wants to achieve. But for getting to the quantification, right? For quantifying and being able to actually achieve that, this is the second challenge that we see a lot of companies face. So just a second, please. I'm talking too much. I need a little bit of liquid. So first thing, you need to have a strategic objective, well-defined strategic objective, right? Once you have that, the second step is to create the goals which are and should be aligned with that specific objective. This is something that people really struggle with a lot. But the suggestion here is to use the tools that we already have, and they are very old tools actually, like the SMART goals framework. So this is for you guys who are still not aware of that, this is a very simple method, and it really works if done correctly. All you have to do is follow all these checkpoints, because it's a checklist, right? If you're creating a goal, it needs to be specific, right? You can't be dreaming too much. You need to be extremely straight to the point, clear as possible. So it needs to be specific. It needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to measure whether you are achieving or reaching your goal or not. So you need to have any kind of metric or KPI to let you know whether you're reaching it. It needs to be achievable, of course, achievable by a certain time frame, and relevant. It needs to be aligned with the long-term objectives of the company, and it needs to be time-based. So you need to have a deadline, because that will provide a sense of urgency that people need to be able to work on something as fast as possible. As fast as possible is not the best way of putting it, but you understand that the sense of urgency is very important. If you don't have a deadline, it's the Parkinson's law, right? Work will feel time. If you don't have a deadline, people will only procrastinate, right? So by using the SMART goals, we have created a very nice shortcut for you guys. If you don't want to be specialized in, oh, I'm an expert in SMART goals and defining objectives, if you don't want to get to that extreme, we have a way of facilitating things for you guys, making things much easier, which is using the shortcut formula for creating great and straight to the point goals and key results. Goals and key results goes hand to hand, okay? So you understand what I mean. So this, again, is a real example, and we have developed this very simple formula, and don't underestimate the simplicity. It really works, right? All you need to create a great goal or a great key result is to define what you want to achieve. So what do I want? By how much in numbers or results that you want to achieve, and by when. That is all you need. And people complicate this a lot. Sometimes there are several discovery sessions only for trying to define, good objectives and goals for the company, for the teams, etc. And that is all you need, guys. If you are able to use, and the second hint that I forgot to bring here, but this is a plus for you guys. Use action verbs. So like you see here, so train the team, implement something, expand, or include. Include is kind of a bad translation. Sorry, I had to translate this. Yeah, I know. But use action items, right? So increase, reduce, build, create, or anything that really helps your team get the job done, right? So action verbs define what you want to achieve, by how much and by when you will be creating the most effective goals that you have ever created. So as you can see here, these are real examples. So what do I need? I need to train the new hires of my team, because this is aligned with the previous one. I'll show you the entire exercise that we did, so that you can understand the big picture after all the steps are completed. So if we want to have a more efficient and qualified team, we need to train them, right? So this is one of the goals that they set for themselves. So we need to train all new hires in the new work method that they developed back in 2021 when we worked together with this company. So by doing that, and we need to make sure that 100% of the new hires are trained, we are setting how much, right? So I don't want 9 out of 10. I want all 10 new hires to be trained. So we are defining the measurement. So we'll know if we were able to achieve that, if we reach 100%, and by when, right? So all new hires that were hired during the specific time, I don't remember right now, needed to be trained until that date. It's as simple as that. And that goes for all the other ones. So implement a new goals plan. So that is what they wanted for 100% of the back office department. So by how much and by when? Again, again, again. So several different examples, and it all, if done correctly, if you understand what you really want or what you really need to do, it's very simple to use this form. Okay. So this is one of the biggest deliveries I'm gonna be offering you guys today. And of course, once you have all those pieces, you need to join them together and try to draw and cascade. And by cascade, I mean make something like this. It doesn't need to be a drawing. Like I used Miro for this one. If you have Lucid chart, if you have Jira, it doesn't need to be visually similar to this one, but you need to have a hierarchy. By cascading, I mean the work hierarchy, not organizational chart hierarchy. Okay, I mean work hierarchy. You need to start from a big objective. You need to break that big objective into smaller goals, so that you know you are progressing toward that objective. And the last layer of those information structure, or the work structure, is the actual things and activities you have to perform. They call these activities initiatives, but this is specific to that company. Okay, I know that this may be confusing, because initiatives for some of you guys may be the biggest things that you have to work on. So the year initiative. So don't get too attached to the semantics, to the vocabulary. Adjust the vocabulary to your context, but make something similar to this. Okay, start with the objective, break it down into key results, use the SMART goal framework, use our shortcut formula that will help a lot to avoid hours of conversation. And once you have what you need to achieve, you just break it down into smaller chunks of work, which are the initiatives or tasks or activities, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And most importantly, make it visible to everyone. Everyone in the company needs to see this. It makes no sense if only the executive level, or the C level, or the higher management has access to this information, because it's the teams, the operational level, the technical level, who will be helping achieve those objectives. So they need to be aware of this, right? So make it visible. Very, very important. It's a huge work to get to very well-defined objectives, to know your team capacity, to know how much they are delivering, just to waste all that work into not sharing the information with the company. Okay. So this is very important advice for you guys. Make it visible and make people, because when people can see where the company is heading and what needs to be achieved, they mobilize, they collaborate in order to achieve that shared objectives. Okay. Nice. So next, I'm gonna be offering not an offering, but sharing two solutions from the market. If you want to focus on OKRs, you already have your well-defined flow metrics, you already work with them, you already have a tool, but you don't have a specific tool for OKRs. Those two ones are very effective tools as well. I know Purdue. I've heard about Cascade from some colleagues. So I'm bringing those two ones. I always like to bring more than one option. So take a look at those solutions and see if they can help you guys with your OKRs adventures. Okay. But these are the two ones that I have to share with you. And of course, I prepared some bonus myself. And again, it's not the best solution, but again, it's an option if you don't want to invest money and if you just want to play a little bit with the content you just learned, and if you want to play around with how can I create specific objectives, you may even I don't know, if you want to play around with the tool, you can use this for yourself. So for personal objectives, try to make or transform your personal objectives into OKRs. That is a good hint to start off. So let's say you want to be as beautiful as you wish for next summer. So that is the inspirational objective. So in order for me to be as beautiful as I want, I need to be able to lose X weight until X date, and you start to work on it. Okay, it's good, and it's a very simple spreadsheet. Feel free to use it. I'm gonna access it just to show you guys really quick, because we have 30 minutes left and I want to open up for questions in the end. So this is a very simple spreadsheet, although it may seem scary because there's a lot of things to be filled out, but it's not that much. Okay, so all you have to do here is just text, right? So what is your objective? And this is an example. And here you have, if you forget about the shortcut formula, I brought it here. So you have it here. So what do you want to achieve, by how much, and by when? And once you have that, you may be looking at a specific quarter to achieve it. So you can bring that here. As much information. The more information you have, the best, right? The better. And of course, you may not be every time starting from zero. So for example, if I remember well, this was the total hires, the total staff that a specific company had. So they had 497 employees, and they wanted to increase that to 575. And once they started hiring people and they onboarded people, the numbers started to increase. And the way we check that is by setting, okay, so when will we start to use those OKRs, right? So let's say, for example, we want to start looking at this next Friday. We will automatically have this updated, the drop-down list here. You just need to choose it when you want to do your first checkpoint. So it can be the first day. So you can define the meeting frequency. For example, if you don't want to wait for a whole month to be able to review the numbers, you can set, for example, 15 days, and it will automatically update the calendar here. So you know when you have to check those numbers again and review those numbers, right? So if you want to have it only once a month and you were starting on the 20th, you will do the first one on October 20th, then on November 19th, because one day less. And that is when you're going to be updating your numbers and checking, getting together with the people involved with the OKR and update whenever you need. And of course, whenever you update it, if it is below, if I'm not mistaken, 30%, yes, it will be red. If it's above 30%, it will be yellow, just to give you a sense of progress and see where you need to focus on. So the color code here is another very good tool in this spreadsheet. Oh, and of course, the unit here is basically every time we talk about measurements and goals, we are always talking about numbers, right? Which is the first one. Or we are talking about percentages. So we are increasing from certain percentage to another one or reducing. Or we are talking about money, right? So I want to increase sales or increase, I don't know, so conversion, etc., etc. So it's either numbers, percentages, or money. This is just to let people know. So it's for 195 watt. It's number of people. If you see that it has a dollar sign here, you may guess that it's related to money, right? So just another visual aid for people to be able to see that at a glance what you're talking about. And of course, these are individual OKR progress, which you will give you the total objective progress. And if you have more than one objective, I don't recommend setting more than 5. It should be between 3 to 5 objectives, as you should be looking at for key results as well. So key results and objectives should not exceed 5, because it's too much coordination work, and usually you don't need that much objectives or that much key results to achieve the things you need. So you have the total objective and the overall organizational progress based on all the objectives you have listed here, okay? And it will be automatically updated as long as you keep it up to date with the numbers and keep checking with the people. All right, so this is the second delivery that I have for you guys. I'm going back to the presentation. I know it's a lot of I was crazy to talk about a lot of things. Sorry about that. For the next time we'll be together, I will focus on only one, and we're gonna be doing more interactive work here during the session, okay? All right, so this is for OKRs, and that is the last topic that I wanted to talk with you guys. We're almost over. Don't fall asleep, please. We're almost there. So maturity assessment. This is very, I don't want to say controversial, but there are a lot of ways of measuring teams' maturity level. And there are a lot of maturity models as well in the market. I'm going to mention 2 of them that I have worked with and that I know that they have been, there is a lot of studies behind those 2 models I'm going to be showing you guys. But we also believe in the keep it simple culture, right? Sometimes you don't need to have too much complex tools or systems just to answer quick questions, right? Let's see, it's okay, very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for the feedback. So this is one of the topics that I thought a lot about how I could help you guys use something in your real life in a practical way. And I don't want to make things too complicated. So the way I'm going to be touching this subject is letting you know why you need to do it. So this is basically this sentence summarize things pretty well. So you need to know where you are, you need to know where you were, and how much you need to improve. That is why we need to have maturity assessments, right? Is my team better than it was 1 year ago or 1 month ago? And what does better mean? That is the tricky part. And that is where people start to, um, have opposite ideas and conflict of opinions, because some people understand that I need to measure my employee satisfaction. That is important for me. So one of the things that I'm going to be measuring for my company as a maturity assessment is my team satisfied, and what are the criteria that I need to analyze to see if they are satisfied. For other people, I need to look at software engineering practices. I need to know if we are developing our skills, our team skills. So I have a software development team, and I really need to know if they are using the best technology, the best practices, DevOps culture, etc., etc. So it really depends on your company. It really depends on your industry, and that is why what I'm going to be showing you guys is one way of doing that. And of course, there are several other ways, right? So maturity assessment, what is it? It's a tool for evaluating the efficiency, competence, and collective development of a work group. This is the basic. Of course, there are several other semantics behind it and ways of understanding team's maturity level. But this is basically what we want, right? Is my team more efficient? Is my team evolving or improving its competence? Is it working well together? So is it working collaboratively? Are people helping each other? Are we progressing together as a group, et cetera, et cetera? So this is basically the summary that I tried to bring to you guys. And what it tells us, it helps us identify areas for improvement. This is key, right? Whatever the model, the maturity model that you guys choose to use, you need to understand that you are using it because you want to improve something. This is the key, right? So I know how much my team is delivering is what we talked about, right? When we talked about flow metrics, I know the capacity, I know how long it takes, but I see that I need to improve it. And how or what do I need to change or adjust in order to improve that? That is why maturity assessments or maturity models were created. So I know that my team is not delivering well because my process is not well defined. So let's create a criteria for process management and see if we were able to map our process. Maybe our processes are not even mapped. So we are in level 0 of or level 1 of process mapping. And we need to achieve level 4 of process mapping, because that will give us the tools that we need to improve, right? So whenever we talk about maturity assessment, we are looking at areas for improvement, guidance for developing the team, and of course, planning actions, and it can be related to training actions as well. Okay. So why is it important? It helps us answer the following question. At what stage of development, and by development is not software development, I mean team development, okay? And operational effectiveness is our team, and how can we enhance it? So any maturity model that you guys use need to answer those two questions. How good we are right now, and how can we enhance it? And how the how is defined within the criteria that you guys choose to analyze. And that is why I tried using several tools, but by experience, we noticed that it's better to make it customizable, because some people want to look at a specific criteria, but other companies don't care for that specific criteria. They care for another one, which is important for them. So being um, open and being adaptable is the best way that we found about, creating a maturity model. And this is one of the best visualizations that I found, because it's a radar. As you can see, it's a radar chart, and the radar chart is good because it gives a sense of how much do we need to spend in a specific one specific aspect of the maturity category we are analyzing, right? And that's going to be a little bit clear when I show you guys what I brought. But before that, I want to show again two very comprehensive, and these are two very comprehensive models. Completely different. They have completely different approaches. For the ones who are familiar with the Kanban method, this is not going to be a new one for you guys. And I really like the Kanban maturity model because it analyzes the business from a holistic view. Agility Raiders from the Agility Health company as well, but I really like the pragmatic approach from the Kanban maturity model. I don't want to be a sponsor here. I swear I'm not receiving any money from any of those, but you should look for both of them and see which one fits better to your needs, okay? I just wanted you guys to look at those. I'm not going to get into detail about how they work and what you should be measuring. As I mentioned, that is a very complex answer because it depends on your context. It depends on what your company thinks it's important to be measured. So it depends on a lot of variables. I just wanted to bring you something that you guys can experiment with, okay? So feel free to take a look at them. And if you want me to bring more details about, okay, so I really wanted to learn a little bit more about Kanban maturity model, we do have partners that we work with, and they are certified professionals that can help you guys if you need to implement the Kanban maturity model, for example. And we have a strong community here in Brazil, and the Kanban community is very strong here as well. So if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out, okay? All right, so the bonus that I have for you guys, and this is where you can start. I brought this on purpose because I really want you guys to dig into this and try to create just a couple of criteria to analyze, just so you can see how hard it is to create. Very simple, because sometimes you know that you want to measure something, but when you start to try to detail what specific criteria is important and how can I evolve from point 1 to point 2 and 3 and 4, things start to get messy, and you start to generate a lot of conflicts, and there is a lot of discussions. So really try to use that before you implement in your company. Try to use it yourself, and try to get a couple of criteria that you might already have in your head, and try to play with those and see how hard it is. And of course, if you are lucky enough to have clarity, if it's clear for you what your company wants to measure, but you are just lacking the visualization tool, right? How can I show this in a report kind of presentation, right? A presentation status report, I don't know. This can be useful for you as well. So as I did for the other ones, I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to explain. This is pretty simple. What exactly we're showing here. It's just one, okay? I thought about bringing several, but you can just copy and paste this and generate other charts. And then you can have this is in Portuguese, I'm sorry. Average, my bad. So you can have, for example, 5 categories that you want to analyze, and have general average of all those 5 categories. This might be one of the needs that you need to achieve for your you need to meet for your business, right? But just as an example, let's say that you want to analyze software engineering mastery. And one of the things that you know that your company is wants to look at as a criteria is version control. So does my team already use any kind of version control software, etc.? And then you start to, and I really like even numbers. So no, it's even numbers. Whenever we are talking about measuring, assessing, sorry, maturity, or any kind of interview or research that you are doing, try to use even numbers, because if we use like 5, people tend to be in the middle, right? And when you use 4, you kind of force people to let you know if it's more to the bad side or more to the good side. So even numbers, it's a simple hint, but it really helps. So 4 is a good number for levels, for example, for assessing maturity. And this is just an example. So version control, maturity level 1 says we still don't use any version control for code base. For level 2, we use version control sporadically, sorry, or only for certain projects. Level 3 says that we use version control consistently for all projects. And level 4, which is the biggest level of maturity, we use it for all projects along with best practices like atomic commits and all the technical stuff behind that, okay? And when you have something like that, you just play around with the grades here, and the visualization is the most important one, right? When you are presenting, depending on your audience, they don't want to see the details, at least not at first. They just want to see how bad or how good are we. And if they see something like that, so this is something that will call attention, right? So this is something that you can start to use in your advantage. So we are very good with feedback loops, and we are getting better with version control, but we still need to work on those things. And higher management will only want to see these radar being, all filled out. But for project leaders or product leaders, they want to know, how can I get to point 1 to point 2, right? And that is why defining the right criteria for what you want to analyze is key, right? And this is extremely hard. It's much harder than it seems, but it will give you a very good sense of what needs to be worked on next, okay? So another good tool for you guys, it's free. Feel free to use it. Don't forget to make a copy first, and rename it, and feel free to adjust to your needs. Use different criteria, different names here, so you can say blah 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 here, and it will be automatically updated for you. Okay. I believe that is it for what I had to show you guys. Now I know we have 10 minutes left, but I just wanted to end before I open for questions. I'm not sure if you guys have a lot of questions. I wanted to wrap it up by explaining why we need and why it's important to connect all 3 things that I brought to you guys today, okay? Let's put everything together. So we talked about efficiency, right? And by efficiency, it's the flow metrics, because you need to understand the capacity of delivery that your team has to know, am I over committing to stuff because my team is not able to deliver based on the current demand? So it's the demand versus capacity analysis. I need to know how long my team is taking. So I need to see and know whether we are efficient, right? The other aspect of the triad, let's call it a triad, is the effectiveness. So it doesn't matter if I have PhDs as product owners giving us the best ideas for business and trying to innovate with the all the features of the world if we are not able to deliver them. So we need to be able to deliver efficient, and we need to be able to deliver the right stuff, because on the other hand is the contrary, right? If we have the most efficient team but we don't have the best ideas, we're just gonna be delivering, I'm sorry for the word, but I have to say it, we're just gonna be delivering crap fast. Okay, so be aware of that. Efficiency needs to come together with effectiveness, and we need to keep evolving. So it's the 3 E's here, and all those 3 guys need to work together, right? The efficiency comes with analyzing the performance of my team, the capacity of my team, understanding how much we can deliver. The effectiveness is aligned with, totally aligned with OKRs, because OKRs are based on strategic goals, and the strategic goals should be aligned with the customer needs. So we need to be doing the right stuff the right way. And of course, if we are not doing the best we can, we need to keep evolving. And to know whether we are evolving or not, we need to have a way of knowing where we are and how can we improve. And that's why the maturity level might help to understand if, okay, so we are delivering good, but are we delivering the best we can? And what is the definition of best we can, right? By creating those criteria and understanding, okay, so given that the best we can is X, we are just delivering A. We need to get to the X, right? And for that, we need to have a plan of evolving our team. And the evolution comes with a maturity model, a team's maturity model assessment. And that is what I had. But I do have, before we finish, Melissa, and I really wanted, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I can uh, do that, but we do have a product. I really need to show you guys this, because I really want to offer you as well the opportunity to use it for free, right? It's our product. This is a product that we developed because we understand that all the problems that we showed you guys here are real problems that we face every day with every single client that we join and we start to work with. So if you guys want to test it for free, no strings attached, give me, just send me an email. I'll share my contact details in the next slide. Let me know if you want to try it. I'll create a specific and special access for you guys. You can already access the site to know the tool. We have everything packed into one tool. This is one of the challenges that we see companies facing as well. As you could see, we have tools for great tools, by the way. Okay, I'm not saying that we are the best, because if we look at our competition, they have brilliant tools, but they are separate tools, right? You need to have a very good tool for flow and performance analysis. You may have another one for OKRs management. You may need to have a third one for maturity assessment. And we are trying to put it all together into one tool to, make it more cost efficient for everyone. So it's a win-win situation. And one of the things that we didn't find outside of Jira, oh, this is important. Unfortunately, we are still developing it. We are working with, I'm not sure if I can say their name, but we're going to be working with accelerator company from Quebec, and they are going to be helping us evolve this product. But right now, we are only available for Jira users, right? So this tool, it's amazing. I'm not saying because it's mine, but it's great if you're using Jira. If you're not using Jira, you can use the spreadsheets that I shared with you guys, and they will help you a lot. And we also have, for Scrum teams, if you are working with Scrum, we have a very great sprint performance analysis tool within the for Jira users again. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Melissa, I know I left only 4 minutes for questions. Those are my contacts. Feel free to reach out if you need help with anything. If you are not able to create your most perfect goals, I'll be happy to help you guys. So we have a great team with us as well. And those are all the sites that we have. So my LinkedIn, please add me to your network. This is our Brazilian consulting company and the New Angle Digital company, which is located in Montreal. And this is the tool that I just mentioned, the Nia Intelligence. Okay. Thank you very much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. It was amazing for me. A great opportunity. Thank you, Melissa. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I'll give the powers back to you now. And